Hi, my name is Gene Kim. I'm your co-MC for the DevOps Enterprise Summit. As you probably know by now, the DevOps Enterprise Summit is going virtual. It is still a 3-day event from June 23rd to June 25th, 2020. It begins each day at 8:30 a.m. British Summer Time. It is the same amazing group of speakers you would expect at DevOps Enterprise Summit, and my thanks to all of you who make this all possible, our speakers. At the DevOps Enterprise Summit within the program community, our goal is to make each event better than the one that we've done in the past. And I've just reviewed the entirety of the programming for the upcoming conference, and I really think we can fulfill our goal that this DevOps Enterprise Summit London 2020 could be our best conference yet, despite being virtual. I look forward to seeing all of you there and learning with you, as well as with the rest of the DevOps Enterprise community. So in this video for speakers, I'm going to share with you what we've learned running and attending online events. I'm going to describe why we want all talks pre-recorded from speakers. I'm going to provide some directions for both general session speakers and breakout session speakers. I'm going to share with you some tips on how to get the best recordings from your talks. So as might not surprise you, I've been attending every online virtual event I can, and I have been doing so for the last 2 months. I'm trying to understand what elements make certain online events truly awesome, and what elements make some online events like the worst, most boring Zoom call ever. I wrote up some of these learnings in a blog post called Love Letter to Conferences, and part of that journey was really to understand which elements of great conference experiences are universal, which apply equally to physical events and virtual events, and which ones we can actually change in a virtual format. So one of the things that really has stood out to me, and probably you've experienced this as well, is that there's nothing more frustrating for an attendee than watching a speaker spend 10 minutes trying to get their audio working. This really was one of the biggest questions that we had in terms of decisions we had to make. Do we do live presentations or do we do pre-recorded presentations? I want to share with you some of my own preconceived notions and beliefs, which was that I believe that live performances would be best. I think kind of the picture over here shows that, when you are in front of thousands of people, that really helps bring out the best performance from presenters. However, the more and more I learned, the more and more I talked to people with production experience in music and in video, their strong feeling was you can only do remote live performances if you really, really need danger in your life. And so we put this to the test. Within the DevOps Enterprise Program Committee, we had 2 speakers present a 5-minute talk in 2 ways, one pre-recorded session and one live session. And we wanted to understand what was better for the attendee and isolate the variables of the speaker and the material they're presenting. And I want to share with you how it felt both as a speaker and as being a part of the audience. So here's things that the speakers, which included me, said. It took me 4 takes because I always forgot something. One time I forgot to hit record. Another point was this really is nice to have an audience to give you some feedback during your talk. Someone said, for me personally, pre-recording was awkward. I always find that I get better performance in front of a live audience. And someone, as far as to say, presenting with no audience is really tough. Webinar presentation without any audience is death. So, but what did it feel like from the attendee and the audience perspective? In a first session, here were some of the comments. A good speaker, but the energy level seemed low. Maybe an audience would help. It was definitely smooth. The video was great. Maybe felt recorded. On the other hand, there were comments like this. I'm engaged and I'm learning. The slides are effective and I'm definitely getting the messages the speaker is intending to convey. I actually couldn't tell whether this was a live or pre-recorded session. And maybe having an audience present would help the speaker connect with them. And having seen this particular presenter, someone said the energy level is lower than when they had seen this person live. So here was a recorded session number 2, different speaker. Standing up definitely seemed to help with energy level. Speaker is not looking into the camera, which would be more effective. In fact, this person was looking at a spot below the camera. I'll talk a little bit about that. And someone noticed, having seen the talk live, the speaker didn't laugh at the expected times. Maybe an audience would help here. So this was interesting feedback. And then we studied a plenary talk that was given at another conference. Here were the reactions. Wow, this keynote is amazing. I couldn't tell whether it was live or pre-recorded. This person evoked emotions and storytelling that was extremely compelling. Eye contact was so good. We wondered if they were using a teleprompter, and fantastic lighting. So our conclusion after this was that it was very decisive. Pre-recorded presentations can be amazing. And one of the quotes that really caught my attention was from Chris Capicella, Chief Marketing Officer at Microsoft, said, "Online events are a cinematic experience, whereas live events are a theatrical performance." And so this really led us to make a decision that we really want to choose pre-recorded sessions. So you have all received a letter that we sent to all speakers announcing that we want to pre-record all our talks. For those of you who are general session speakers, we're going to schedule a 90-minute session where we will record you. All you need to do is click on the link and we'll handle the rest. Breakout session speakers, we're going to provide you directions on how to record your own talk, ideally using Zoom, just because it's so widely available and so easy to use. Something that I am very excited about is that having pre-recorded sessions enables something really amazing, which is that speakers can answer questions during their session, which is something that we've always wanted to do. We've never had enough time for interaction between attendees and speakers. So this is something that we definitely want to do. You can field Q&A in the Slack channel. So what I want to do with you next is share with you all our collective learnings on how to make the best recordings of your awesome talks based on having recorded many talks and having watched even more talks. So recording your talk, I had mentioned general session. We're going to schedule 90 minutes with you. Breakout sessions, we're going to send you directions on how to record your talk, whether it's in Zoom or a tool of your choice. Here's what I'm going to cover. Use of a microphone, standing up, elevating your camera, adjusting your lighting. And this is probably the most important part of getting your video quality way up, picking a good background, and the specific steps to record. So let's go to the first one, audio. If you have a professional microphone, like a Blue Yeti microphone, definitely use it. If you don't, definitely use a headset. So even what you use on your mobile phone should work fine. Just be careful that the microphone doesn't scrape across your clothing, because we definitely pick that up, and use tape to tape it down if you need to. Whatever you do, do not use the speaker and the microphone on your laptop. The outcomes are never very good. Next. Video. The camera is too low. So you probably see this all the time in your endless hours and days of video conferences. So if you have an external webcam or external camera, use that if you can. And most importantly, elevate the camera so that it is at eye level. The picture down here shows that the camera is too low and I'm looking down into the lens. What you really want to do is get that lifted up. So if you have a laptop, get it elevated, especially because we're encouraging everybody to give your presentation standing up. There's something about standing up and the body posture that allows you to project your voice better, breathe more expansively, and we could definitely tell a difference in our screen tests of who is standing up and who is sitting down. So if you're standing up, that really makes it even more important. How do you get the camera high enough? So the solution is elevating the laptop or the camera. This is actually a tweet that Martin Woodward shared, where he elevated his laptop so that he can use either the laptop camera or have his slides right alongside the camera. Over the experiments, I've had to elevate my laptop using cardboard boxes, styrofoam boxes, and I found that in general, it's almost never high enough. So if you're using a camera or a tripod, you want that camera one way or another up above at the same level. Right, so this is the setup I'm using right now. I'm actually lifted up a 30-inch monitor so that it has the same level as the camera. Next is lighting, which probably has maybe the most effect on video quality. So don't use backlighting. Try to avoid overhead lighting. Use natural light to fill in the space. And then you want some sort of light on the side to fill in lighting. Just as a side note, having worked with many video crews, I always thought the lighting person was an annoyance. These people are the work they do is so important. In fact, I found my own. It helps really to have a lighting tech. And in this case, it's my 12-year-old son. And you can see all the differences and variations that we could play with to try to get the best lighting. What would be very helpful is having some sort of ring lights. So if you've seen people's video setups, these are the ring lights that they're using to fill in dark spots. And we will put a link to lights that other people have recommended to us. Next is picking a good background. Avoid sitting with your back against a flat wall. There's an example of this in the slide next. Some of them are too low, but what we found, the advice is choose something where there's depth behind you and it looks more visually pleasing. Also, as you get ready to record your presentation, having two monitors or two screens is very helpful, in some cases necessary. Because when you record your slides, whether it's Zoom or the service that we're using, we are screen sharing the slides. So that's the graphic that you see to the at the top. And then you're going to use the second monitor for your presenter notes. So there are times I've actually used an iPad to do presenter views. So you can try to do it without two monitors, but I found having two monitors is very, very helpful. Recording. To assist with editing, we recommend that you start your video by saying and doing a visual indication. So specifically this, 3, 2, 1, and then clap. And then wait 5 seconds. And this is so that we can record your background noise. And it'll be also helpful if you have one slide with a just a solid color so that we can understand where your presentation starts. Breakout recordings. Again, we will send you specific instructions on how to record with Zoom. You're going to have to change a couple of settings so that we can capture the best audio and video. You're going to record to the cloud and then send us the video link. And this might require enabling certain privacy settings. So on the Mac, the privacy settings look like this. And there are about 3 screens, maybe even 2 screens, where you'll need to make adjustments. Specifically, making sure that your microphone, the right microphone is selected, and making sure that the recording settings are getting the best possible quality so that they are easiest to edit and preserve the audio video quality. What happens if you cannot or do not want to use Zoom? You can use whatever technology or program that you want. The requirements are giving us an MP4 file video, ideally in 720p resolution. So that's 1280 by 720. On Mac OS, we recommend using ScreenFlow. On Windows, you can use a camera app. Or for the Brave, you can use StreamYard, which is the online service that we're using to record this right now. So, in summary, here is what we want to share with you to help enable you to make the best recording of your talk. We're going to need a pre-recording of your talk in an MP4 video file. Use an external microphone. Stand up. Elevate the camera. Adjust your lighting, pick a good background, record, and then send it to us. So thank you so much for everything, for submitting your talks, for speaking at DevOps Enterprise. I so much look forward to seeing you all there and learning with you and the rest of the DevOps Enterprise community in the end of June. Thank you so much.